You can't have Iron Man without repulsors. Everybody gets repulsors. They've seen them for years, you've read them, you've played them. So for us, starting there was the basic for getting Iron Man to be right. But he's a flyer. He actually has neither just ground or air, but he has both. So for us, we had to combine repulsors with some new deep skill trees like lasers that he can actually use for some awesome melee attacks and even some ranged attacks as he's sprint flying through the world. Now on top of that, we also have rockets. You can actually unlock rockets through your skill tree. Now you can do things like lock onto a range of bad guys and launch a barrage at distance for homing rockets if you've invested deeply into the skill tree. But for us, we had to go beyond that. Because we have so much good melee and ranged combat, we had to create an environment where Iron Man could do multiple things in one pocket of combat and feel badass no matter what he was doing. So for flying mechanics, when you think about Iron Man and Thor, they both fly. They both fly different ways and for different reasons. They have different powers that they can control for how they fly. So it's important for us to look at, if I'm moving as Iron Man versus moving as Thor, we want it to be familiar that as a player, once you've learned one, you can kind of get the other one, but they have much different things you can invest in for how you can master their flight techniques. Iron Man's fast, he's a sprint flyer. He's got all kinds of cool ranged weaponry that he integrates into his flying and his flight path. So for us, we had to go and really custom tune the weapons plus his flight, be able to make it feel like that flying arsenal that you want with an Iron Man.
And you can also level up these characters differently within their skill trees. So that will also help you master how you use them.
So one of the best things about Iron Man is he's so powerful, but one of the things we have to do in the game is give him challenges that make sense. Because you could perceive, wow, Iron Man's got repulsors, and he's got a unibeam from the chest, he's got rockets and lasers. Isn't it just an instant win button? One of the things we love about our combat team, led by Vince Napoli, our lead designer, is they took all of that into account. They managed to make a very balanced combat system where you get into a fight and you will see very distinct kind of Tony Stark feeling, almost posing when he does certain types of moves in certain types of combat situations. But because of how AIM, our bad guys for this game, have powered themselves up, there's no instant win. Everything is a challenge of different levels. Certainly for us, it's been an amazing balance when we get people playing these heroes and they start switching between lasers or rockets or repulsors. Kind of find a rhythm of the combat, of what you like to do, how you like to play or fight as that particular character.
The events of A-Day affected Tony Stark very deeply. As a course of events, the world after A-Day, turns against superheroes. He loses his fortune, he loses his company, he loses all of his toys. So he goes into seclusion, and the world kind of loses track of Tony Stark.
He withdraws from society, even from the Avengers. At the end of the day, what used to be the guy who had all the answers suddenly has none. So suddenly he's trying to figure out where he fits into this world and how.
Yeah, it's the one thing that Tony's ego can't take. He becomes a bit of a broken man.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things about A-Day is that now, in the absence of the Avengers being blamed for this tragedy, actually superheroes being outlawed, which is an interesting new world for us to live in. 5 years later, with advanced idea mechanics, otherwise known as AIM, rising to power, they take over all of Stark Industries' technology. That means they have access to things that maybe they shouldn't have had access to, but also gives them an insight into things that we might not talk about in detail yet. Well, Rose, is there anything we'd like to tease about Iron Man that they haven't heard yet?
I think that we could say that Tony Stark finds himself in a very interesting place. And when they seek him out, you will be surprised at what's happened to him.
That's true. We have a nice little backstory, shall we say nugget? That would be a nice surprise. We can't wait for people to discover that. Thank you for watching.
Stay tuned for more Marvel's Avengers content on Virgin Media's channels soon.